What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to install an aftermarket steering wheel on your C6 Corvette. This install video will give you all my tips and tricks on what I did to install it, as well as how to work through some of the problems I ran into while installing it. I'm also going to show you how to keep a working horn, especially important if you're going to daily drive your car, and how to eliminate the airbag light. So if you're like me, don't want to see the light on the dash, I'm going to show you how to get rid of that. Super easy. So come with me and let's check it out. Okay, so this is what you need to install an aftermarket steering wheel and quick release into a C6 Corvette. A lot of what you're going to need here is going to be the same no matter what car you're putting it into. You'll need a socket set with an extension, a pair of wire cutters. You will also need some male and female disconnects. The ones in particular for the C6 are 16 by 14. That is the same both male and female. You will need some 2.2 ohm resistors. That is only if you want the airbag light off, as well as some heat shrink. The part number here for the hub, this is for the C6, is SRK 177H. That is the NRG hub that is strictly for the C6 Corvette. There are probably also some other applications with the same, but if you want a C6 Corvette, it's SRK 177H, and also the NRG quick release itself. You'll also need an aftermarket steering wheel. Most aftermarket steering wheel kits include all the nuts and bolts. From your steering wheel kit, you will also decide if you want a horn. If you want a working horn, that is when you will need the male and female connectors. If you don't want a horn, you will not need those. If you don't care about the airbag light, you will not need the heat shrink. But your aftermarket horn should have all the necessary hardware to attach the horn to the quick release. If you don't want a horn, it should give you the hardware to attach just the steering wheel and a horn block-off plate. So whatever steering wheel you decide to buy, make sure you actually read the description and make sure it comes with the hardware that's necessary for you to mount it to the quick release or directly to the hub. It should also include either some sort of horn or horn blockout plate. But again, that is steering wheel specific, so just make sure you read what you're buying. So this is the stock steering wheel that we'll be removing on the C6. A lot of people know that the C6 has a notoriously ugly steering wheel. A lot of people refer to it as the cobalt steering wheel. It is the same steering wheel that comes in a cobalt. So today we're going to get rid of this ugly thing, and we're going to get our new Street Aero forged carbon wheel on. Now the first thing, you are removing an airbag. So anytime you mess with an airbag, you want to go ahead and disconnect the battery. So that's what we're going to do. We got the hood popped, and all we're going to do is come over and disconnect the power from our battery. That way when we remove the airbag, we're 100% sure that it's safe. Alright, so we have the power undone. Now we want to make sure that the steering wheel is straight. And then on the side, let's see if I can get to it. There's two holes. One's right there. The other one is the same place on the other side. Well, you need a lot of people use an Allen key. I'm going to try it with a little flathead screwdriver. You literally just stick it up in the hole to release the clip so you can pull the airbag off. So that's what we're going to do now. So I want to take a minute while I have the factory steering wheel off the car just to give you guys a little bit better view. So those holes right there, those are the holes, it's the same on the either side, are going to be the holes that you're going to stick your Allen key or your screwdriver through. Now what you're looking for, now if you look right here, there's a little lever. See that lever going back and forth? That's what you're pushing with the screwdriver. So what you want to do is stick your screwdriver in the hole on the side, and you're just going to push so that little lever moves. Now when that lever gets to this point here, it releases the pegs that hold the airbag. So again, it is the same on both sides. You come in through the hole, and you come in through the hole, you get that little lever. Once that lever moves back and forth, it releases the pegs so you can actually pull the airbag out. And I just wanted to show you what it looked like. I know it's kind of dark on camera, but I wanted to give you guys kind of an idea of what you're trying to accomplish by doing that. So let's get back to the install. All right, so we threaded through those holes. We were able to get the airbag off. Now I went ahead and disconnected the clips. There are two clips plugging the airbag in. Set the airbag over to the side. Again, just be super careful when you're doing it. Okay, so we can pull this clip. This clip is down here. Get the clip off and out of the way. And that shows us the nut. Now we're gonna go ahead and loosen that nut up Now, just kind of like a pro tip, any steering wheel install video you see will recommend this. After you get that nut off, go ahead and thread it back down just a little bit. That way when you're pulling and cranking on the steering wheel doesn't come off and hit you right in the face and do a bunch of damage. So we got the nut on. Now I'm just going to go ahead and kind of bang there we go. So you can see now the steering wheel is loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, get the nut the rest of the way off, and then we will grab the hub and start swapping everything out. Alright, so we got the steering wheel off. It is out of the car. The only thing I did, there is a little clip. You just push down and remove. Those wires will stay in the car, and then the two airbag wires as well. So that what you're left with is this junky cobalt steering wheel. So what we're going to do now, set that and the airbag off. We are going to grab our NRG hub, and we're going to go ahead and get that set in place. Alright, so what I have here are some 2.2 ohm resistors. So we're actually going to use these resistors and plug them into the airbag containers. That way, hopefully, we can get rid of the airbag light. If you don't care about the airbag light, don't mind the airbag light being on, you can skip this step. These resistors are super cheap on Amazon. So for me, I just figured it'd be an easy way to do it. I'm not a wiring expert, so we're going to see if we can kind of fumble through this. From what I understand, you just bend the metal prongs and stick them into the holes on the actual airbag plug. And then a lot of people take electrical tape and wire up the electrical tape. So that's what we're going to try and do right now. It actually worked. Just so you can see, the airbag light's off. All I did was I went ahead and took those resistors, plugged them in the hole there, went ahead and pushed down on the actual clamp. Hold on, let me turn the car off. Okay, so what I did was I took the resistor, plugged them through the holes there. Get this thing to focus. Plugged them through the holes, and then I went ahead and pushed down on the clamp, and then I just kind of bent the resistor down. Now I'm going to take some electrical tape and wire those up, but that did keep the airbag light from coming on, which is awesome. Okay, so I went ahead, used some electrical tape, wired shut the resistors to the actual airbag thing. So one more time before I seal it up, I'm just going to check real quick. See the airbag light blinking, just like normal startup. Hopefully it stays off. And it stays off. I'm not wearing my seatbelt. So it worked. So those resistors I got on Amazon, they're super cheap. I got a 100 pack. I don't know that I'll ever use anymore, so maybe you could go less. It would be a little cheaper, but I'm going to go ahead and link those resistors. I'm going to go ahead and link those resistors in the description down below, so you can jump on there, grab the resistors that you need in order to do it, and keep the airbag light off. I just wanted it to look not stock, obviously, because I'm changing the whole wheel, but I didn't want to look at an airbag light. I'm sure a lot of you guys are the same. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the hub, I'm going to run these wires through the hole on the hub. I'm actually going to loop these around behind the hub and kind of hide them, keep them hidden away. These will be used later on to get the horn. So let me get the hub put in place, and we'll see what we can do. Alright, so we got our NRG hub. What you want to do, make sure the NRG logo's on top. There's also a dot at the top just to make sure that you're 100% mounting it in the proper location. So as I said, I ran this little wire pack through the hole in the bottom of the hub just so that way we have everything accessible to make the horn work. Got the hub on, we tightened everything down. She's on there pretty tight. And we're gonna go ahead and get the wheel, and we will get ready to get that wheel mounted up to our new hub and hopefully wire up the horn and we'll be good. Alright, so if you want your horn to work, you're gonna need some female disconnects and some male disconnects. They're 16 to 14. And 16 to 14 for the male and the female both. Now what you're going to do, those two wires that we clipped, you're going to end up putting a male disconnect and a female disconnect on the end of the wires. There is a male and female on the, let me show you, on the quick release. So you're just going to plug the male and female end into the quick release, basically female to male and female to male. I use the yellow as the power wire, the black is the ground wire, just to kind of keep it the same as the car itself. So we're gonna get those male and female disconnects plugged up, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I wanted to take a quick opportunity here before we get installing on the quick release to explain something. When I originally purchased this steering wheel, I had no intention of running a quick release. I wanted to have the steering wheel bolt directly up to the hub. That was it. The problem I ran into was I wanted my horn to work because it is still my daily driver. So with the actuation of the horn button moving in and out, due to the nut that sits out pretty far, as you can see in this picture here, I didn't have enough room for that movement of the actual steering wheel horn button because of the way the nut sits. Now when you take the movement of the nut that I needed as well as the space I needed for all of the wiring in order to run the horn, I didn't have enough room to do all that without running a quick release. So in the middle, I changed it up and opted to install a quick release, which I'll show you how to do as well. If you don't want a working horn and you don't want a quick release, you can absolutely do it without needing a quick release. If you want to run a horn and you have a horn button that's different than mine, I see, there are some with the little tiny red button that you just push. You don't need that movement. There is enough room if you cram the wires in the right way, again, to run it without a quick release. For me, the wheel I selected and the way that the horn works, I needed to run a quick release. So I'm going to show you how to install that quick release as well in the following part of this video. I just wanted to explain why we kind of changed it up in the middle and why it sounds like the quick release was an afterthought. Okay, so what I did was I cut all of the wires off of the plug just so you can kind of see that's what the plug looked like. Obviously all the wires were plugged in. I knew that I wasn't going to use that, so I just went ahead and cut them all. I went ahead and used some electrical tape and taped off the end of the wires that I don't need. Now, the blue wire and the gray wire are your male and female connectors. That's what they're going to clip to, so that is the power and the ground for the horn. Again, I ran the power to the yellow, the ground to the black, and this is the inside of the quick release. So this right here is the male side. Now all we're gonna do is kind of wrap everything up, and I'll show you how I did it. Okay, so we have all of the Allen keys in place, and that is the male side. So that is the side that bolts up to our hub for the quick release there. So what I'm gonna do now, we're gonna take the other piece of the quick release. Now this is the piece that the steering wheel will actually bolt up to, and we're gonna go ahead and get it plugged into the main piece here. That way we can finish. Okay, so we have the quick release all set up. Again, like I said, I got the NRG, and then on the inside there is the NRG, just so you know everything is lined up perfectly the way it should be. Now we have the black and yellow wire, obviously the power and the ground. Now, just a good way to make sure that what you've wired up to this point is correct, go ahead and take either side, touch it to the metal, and the horn sounds. That's how you know that everything up to this point is right. Now what I'm going to do, the steering wheel I ordered has a horn button. Now as you can see on the back of the horn button, it's just two males, but they went ahead and included a male to male wire here and a male to female wire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these wired up to the back of the horn, and then we should just be able to plug these opposite ends into the male and female wired up there, and then we should be able to have a horn function. So we're going to check that out and see if it works. All I did was plug the male and females into the wire there, the power and the ground, and then I plugged the double females into the female slots on the back of the horn button itself. So now it is the moment of truth. Can we make the horn work on a quick release for a C6 Corvette with a button? Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the horn put in, we'll get the buttons in the steering wheel set up, and then we'll get it screwed up to the quick release, and we'll see how it all looks and works once it's done. Alright, so we have all of our Allen keys in, we have our steering wheel holder on over the steering wheel button for the horn, so that holds the horn in place. We have the actual forged carbon Street Aero wheel in. I will link to the Street Aero wheel down below. We have our horn button in, we got it all wired up. So now it's time for the moment of truth. Did we get this thing wired up? First time ever. No idea what we're doing. Totally guessing. And hopefully it worked out. Let's check. We got the horn working. And then as we saw with our resistors too, we have no airbag light. Man, that forged carbon by Street Aero, that is something else. And again, got that working horn. So let's get outside. I'll take a couple shots of the wheel and you guys can check out kind of what it looks like with the quick release. And I have plenty of room with the quick release. That was obviously one of my fears, was how much further out the wheel is gonna stick out. But with me in it, there's plenty of space in between me and the wheel. Obviously the Vette has an adjustable steering column, so you can kind of move it in and out and up and down. It's fully telescopic, super nice, but a huge fan of the way this came out. And super pumped to learn along with you guys how to do this. So let's get some shots of the wheel. Alright guys, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed the content, make sure you leave us a like down below. Also, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. What are you doing? If you have any questions or something comes up on your install, leave me a comment down below. I'll make sure I get back to you, and I'll help you guys get an awesome aftermarket steering wheel in every single one of your cars. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take it easy.